Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello, and welcome to another edition of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. Look forward to the show today. Coach Spurrier will join us. Robbie Andreu will join us for yes, no way, or maybe. And had a great weekend watching football, as many of you did. By the way, Friday on our 200th show, Chip Towers is going to join us, a good friend of mine from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. We'll break down that Georgia LSU game as if it's breakdownable. But we'll talk about a lot of things that have gone on in college football this weekend, or this year. At some point this Christmas, we are going to give you a best of show that's not even a best of. We're going to tape it ahead of time. And what we'll do is basically give out awards. And we'll call them the Dooleys. How about that? We need to come up with a symbol for the Dooley's Award. Maybe it's just, no, please do not have my face on the trophy. I want like something, like, I don't know. What am I known for? Just being stupid, I guess. So maybe go, anyway, so he'll join us on the 200th show, which will be Friday. It's exciting. Watched a lot of football. I even got Karen to come into my sports room twice this weekend. She was into college football, so that was fun. We had a great time actually this weekend. We had a early Thanksgiving on Wednesday, and Kelsey went over to Tallahassee, and so she had a good time. We had a good time. We had a good weekend. It was fun. It was very, very relaxing. Again, doing the show, we taped the show Wednesday for Thursday for special Thanksgiving edition. And so it was kind of relaxing to have, kind of that. I had stuff to do, but it was never overwhelming. Anyway, I know all of you really care about me. So let's move on to get to something interesting, which would be the Hand Law starting lineup. It is brought to you, as always, by Hand Law. And of course, the people at Hand Law are just amazing. It is a law firm based in Jacksonville, and we all know how great they do. And we appreciate Chris Hand so much. He does so much great stuff for us. And he's been part of this show for a long time, and we appreciate him. And eventually we'll get the reader. There it is. The starting lineup is presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. That was a pretty good stretch. I stretched it out pretty long, you got to admit. You can Tammy thought I was reading from it, yeah. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. And again, appreciate Chris. All right, number one on Hand Law starting lineup. I'm not going to dissect the game. I mean, look, you guys all watched it. It was a month ago, it feels like. But I'm getting a lot of questions about Billy Napier and what people think. And a lot of people want to take away the play calling. They're 12th in offense in the country to end the regular season. That's not the problem. The problem maybe is certain calls at certain times. And here's the other problem. People look at games like that game the other night, and they don't agree with the way they call plays, and they still had 450 yards and 38 points, and that should be enough. That's not the problem. I know not everybody has great offensive games. Georgia scored 16 points a week ago. They've had some games in Missouri. They were terrible on offense until finally they turned it on. It happens. But it's just the way it is. I don't think that is the issue. I think you're missing the point. The point is, to me, and again, I'm not a coach. I don't know. The bottom line is they got to get better players on defense. They got to get better players on offense. In this game, and I know that what happened at Vanderbilt where the young receivers came up, they tried to get them the ball. They dropped passes. They didn't do well. They didn't play well. And again, it was one of those games where they had a lot of drops, and Richardson wasn't great. He was it was Anthony Richardson in microcosm, man. It was like, oh man, look at that. Again, don't puke off the side. It's a tough ride with Anthony Richardson. It's probably over, but it's been an interesting ride, but it's, I still think the kid gets way too much criticism. People tend to want to blame the results rather than the human being. But that's my opinion. So it'll be an interesting December. Florida's going to make changes in the coaching staff. There are some areas where you saw deficiencies. I know that. They'll figure it out. That's up to him to do. I'm not going to ever question whether somebody should be hired, fired, or anything, because there's no point. I'm not making a hire, and they don't watch the show. So what's even the point? There are going to have to be some changes made when you're going to be historically bad on defense. So when the stats are all in. So we'll see what happens. And also the transfer portal is going to be fascinating. December is going to be wild around here. So anybody who, is kind of like, well, football season's over now. I don't know that I need to listen to the Dooley podcast. Hey, December, at least give us December, because December is going to be wild and woolly. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on here, and I would suggest you give us every month. All right, number 2 on hand law starting lineup. Don't forget this sobering fact, okay? The schedule's not easier next year. This was a brutal schedule. We all talked about it. You start off with Utah. Then you got Kentucky, which is we thought was going to be better than they were, but they still ended up 8-4, a good team. You had to deal with going to Tennessee, where they had their best team. A lot of people felt like in a long time. Obviously, the back end was all road games. It was not an easy schedule. It's not easier next year. Here's what you got. At Utah, altitude change for one thing, but also, this is going to be still a good team. Then you go to Kentucky. This is not in order, but you have to go at Kentucky, at South Carolina, which all of a sudden is a deal, which I didn't think was a deal when they destroyed them here, but that's a whole nother story. At LSU, at Missouri, which just got a big win. By the way, I want to make sure I bring this up. The SEC East beat the SEC West this year, 8-6. You want to count the championship game? Doesn't matter. Georgia will probably win it anyway, but that'll be 9-6. So let's not talk East versus West. We're going to get rid of divisions, but let's not talk about it. And also, you got to play Georgia, of course, at a neutral site. So you have 6 home games next year, not 7. You have 6. You do have a couple of softies at home. You do get Tennessee at home, but it's a tough schedule again next year. They're going to have to be better. But I still go back to the fact that this team had a chance to win every game in the fourth quarter. Every game in the fourth quarter. Sometimes they got it done. Sometimes they didn't. Get better players. Chances of getting it done are increased. Get them through the portal. Get them through recruiting. Just get them. That's the main thing. And I think you get me. Also, you get FSU at home, too. All right, number 3. Think about this season. And I did this before the year, and I broke down the 2022 schedule in thirds. And I think coaches do that. I know they do in the NFL. They break it down in quarters because it's 16-game schedule, so they go 4-4-4-4. And they kind of try to. They do. I know they do this. It's just. I'm sure college coaches do it too. They may break it down in quarters too, 3-3-3-3. But I think this year it really broke down in November, September, October, November. That was the bottom line. Florida went 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. Now, and I think Nick De La Torre said this to me the other day. We were talking, I think it was yesterday, about a lot of different things. But one thing he said was, if they don't lose to Vanderbilt, it's a season the Gator fans could live with. I think palatable was what he said. He was dead right. That's the game that makes no sense. makes zero sense. So other than that, I think this season pretty much went as it is. But now we'll see what bowl game they go to. I have heard everything. I've heard Vegas. My wife was actually making reservations for Vegas. So flights. I said, no. They don't know where they're going. Could be Birmingham Bowl, could be the Liberty Bowl, could be wherever they go. I think maybe they played themselves out of the Gator Bowl, but maybe not. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Again, a lot depends on what happens at the college football playoff, and we'll get to that in just a little bit on the Hester and Kipke 3 things. We'll do that. Let's get to number 4, though, right now, which is that volleyball won its 25th SEC championship. It matters to me. It should matter to you. When you win conference championships at this school, it matters. I don't care what sport it's in. I don't care if it's golf. I don't care if it's football. It still matters. And volleyball, to win 25 of them is pretty darn amazing. I think there's only one school in the SEC that's got more in one sport. And I want to say it's Georgia women's tennis. Maybe it's Florida women's tennis. Anyway, whoever it is, they won both matches. The last match was a hell of a match. Went to the 5th set, and they were able to get that win. So that was good on a weekend that was a lot of bad because basketball was bad. I mean, obviously – the game Friday night, you're excited, they finally, this is what we're going to see. Then they were just really bad. It looked like a team that didn't want to be there. They got into some foul trouble I've never seen anything like that, where you had your 2 centers have 3 and 4 fouls in the first half. That was unusual that they were even in there. You would think you would, but maybe stick Niels Lane in there and just say, play center. Do something, but they felt the game was getting away from them, so I also understand that. Not good. 3 from 17 from 3. This team is not showing that it's a good 3-point shooting team. It was supposed to be. Hadn't shown it. Myron Jones actually made a 3-point shot. I was stunned. That was going to be one of my yes, no, where, maybe questions. Castleton gets 3 points. He's in foul trouble the whole game. They didn't look like they wanted to be there. It's a long trip. I mean, this is not going to be indicative of what kind of season, but losing to West Virginia by 100 points is not good. 1-2 on the trip. It's better than 0-3, I guess. We still are trying to figure out what's going on with this team. And it's, again, a lot of people aren't going to pay a lot of attention until we get into conference play. And that's coming up in the end of December. So it's right around the corner. And finally, number 5, the coaching carousel is going full circle. Coaches are getting hired, fired, let go, and everything. Lane Kiffin decides to stay at Ole Miss. I just don't. The people I'm talking to tell me they just couldn't work out a non-interference clause where the boosters were going to stay away and he was going to be able to do his job. And that was the biggest thing that got in the way there. He wanted the job, but he wanted it under his terms. And look, he's got the chops to do that, and he's got the credentials to do it. He's got equity build up in this conference. So apparently they're going to hire Hugh Freeze. Although I will say this as we do the show today, that still hasn't happened. But Auburn's going to end up hiring him. Matt Rule to Nebraska. Not only does he go to Nebraska, but he takes Marcus Satterfield with him, who just had this incredible 2 weeks as an offensive coordinator, according to what I heard. Again, you have to, all this stuff. They had a Deion Sanders to USF rumor going on that was like on Twitter. So Twitter is not your source for news. But so Stanford is now open. That job is open. Luke Fickell to Wisconsin. It's wild. Deion, apparently, Colorado, is that going to happen? That seems like a weird fit in that you've got to kind of develop, I think, out there more than recruit, but he may end up being able to attract guys there. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting month. I can tell you that around college football and all the sports we love. All right, let's take a break. Let's get Coach Spurrier on here to talk about all the stuff that happened this weekend, including the Florida loss, and I'm sure he's happy about South Carolina's win and Mississippi State's win. That was another big win. We'll also get the Campus USA play of the game. We appreciate Campus USA. That's where I bank. That's where you all should be banking. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. It's a great pleasure, as always, to bring on Coach Spurrier every Monday. We have him on Meldon Monday, and, of course, Meldon Law is a sponsor of his segments. We appreciate them for Meldon Law. We'll also come back with very late in this segment with our Campus USA play of the game from Friday's game. I have to keep correcting myself on that. I mean, I don't know if did you ever play a season where you played a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday game? I don't think that's ever happened with you, no.
No, I don't think we ever played a Friday game back in those days. Now in pro football, I played some Thursday. I played against the Cowboys on the Thursday. In fact, we beat them in Dallas. That was one of my highlight games. I only had about 5, but that was one of them. But anyway,
that's 5 more than a lot of people have. That's
so
right.
I played on a Thursday and, of course, Saturday and Sundays. But I don't think I ever played.
So you
Friday
didn't play
game.
at
Friday
Miami
night
on a Friday night?
Friday used to belong to the high schools.
It did.
Friday night football is high schools, so we never. That's the only time I played Friday
And
night.
it still does, because my thing is, if you're going to go to, if you really want to watch Nebraska versus Iowa on a Friday night versus going to a high school game, I don't think that's a choice people make. You know, I think you're just going to go to the high school game if you want to go to the high school game.
Yeah, usually you have a connection with the high school or,
Right.
or parents or whatever. But yeah, I like the idea that Friday night belongs to the high schools a little bit. But some of the teams in that conference, and is that conference up in Ohio?
Oh, the MAC?
Yeah, they play all the
MAC
time on
should,
Friday
yeah.
night, and
They'll play any day.
and,
Yeah.
for us that aren't affiliated with a high school,
Right.
it's good to watch those.
What about the, of course, playing Florida State? That was their call. They wanted to do it on a Friday night, and I understand you get all the attention on you. It was the only game Friday night, and I understand why they did it. I don't know. How do you have to prepare differently? You just kind of cut a day off of your prep and maybe shove it in a little bit closer. But
Usually
you had to do that in the NFL.
Well, usually if you play on Friday, you don't have to give the guys a day off.
Right.
So you can come in Sunday and watch the tape of the prior game and start doing your game plan. And then Monday you can have, practice Monday all the way through. So anyway, but that's no big deal. It's same for the other guy that says you. So you just go do it. No problem.
Well, the game Friday night was kind of a microcosm of the whole season, Steve. I mean, we saw good things and exciting things, and you thought the Gators were down. They came back, and then at the end, they just couldn't muster that last drive. And I keep telling myself, this is a team that could have won every game they played. There's no team that was better, just that much better than them. Even Georgia, it's 28-20 in the fourth quarter. They're within every game, so they've just got to get a little better in a lot of areas, including personnel.
Well, we beat Utah in one that we could have lost also, and even that South Florida game, we didn't clobber them.
No,
what did they win? One game all year?
They should have won 2 games.
Yeah.
They had UCF on the ropes there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, we can look very good at times.
I know.
And then other times you wonder where
it's just
we
like
are.
with Anthony. Like it's good
That's
throw,
right.
bad throw, good throw, bad throw,
Yeah, 9 out of 27, even with a bunch of backup receivers, is not great, that's for sure. But I don't know. My message for the Gators is, hey, we got to stay behind our team.
Yeah.
Billy Napier and this coaching staff, they're going to be with us a long time. Let's get behind them and give them a chance. I mean, we're not going to have any all SEC players that I know of right now. Do we have one?
I don't. I can make an argument for Ventrell Miller, but that's a tough position to get in there on.
Pearsall's played pretty well.
Cyrus Torrance could be in there at right guard. Yeah.
So
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. So we need to give this program time. It's obvious he didn't inherit the teams that I inherited or Ron Zook inherited. All those guys, they were ready to step in most of the time. In fact, I remember when Dan Mullen came, he said, it surprised me what kind of talent we got here. And I said, I know it. It's here. I've seen them play. Back then, we just needed a little offense. The defense was really good under McElwain. And So anyway, we'll give it time and got some work to do and get ready for the bowl game. If we can win that bowl game, that's important. Having a losing record is, we did it last year. Yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
We're in the same situation as last year.
And you build momentum. I mean, I know you kind of being a competitor that you are. When you go into went into a bowl game, you always just were looking to win the game. You weren't worried so much about going forward. What it meant about the momentum going forward.
Well, it makes the off season a lot better when you win the bowl game. If you lose it, then that's the last game. So you got to live with it for 6 months or so before you start playing again.
But you won a national title after you lost a bowl game. So
one national title
in '96 after you lost the '95 bowl.
Oh,
that
was a national championship game too. But it got out of hand quickly out there in the Fiesta Bowl. But again, we got some work to do. But Billy Napier and his guys are ready to do it. So we got to get behind them and move forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens because obviously there's going to be a lot of changes. There'll probably be a couple of changes in coaching staff and and obviously the purge will continue with players. And I mean, there's only so much you can't kick a guy off a team. I know they're 1-year scholarships, but when you have to get rid of a guy, you just tell them, hey, you might want to try something else.
Yeah, coaches can encourage players to transfer,
right.
And that happens all over the country. So it's a move around game now. College football, basketball, if your situation is not very good and you want to go somewhere, there's probably a team that'll take you if you're a decent player. A lot of guys enter that transfer portal and don't end up anywhere. So they
end up Piggly Wiggly or something like that.
Yeah, they've messed up. But again, hopefully we can recruit our way out of it. As far as that NIL money, we saw how much it helped Texas A&M and Miami. Of course, A&M had a big win over LSU, but Miami's been pretty sad this year. So I don't know if that's the answer. Obviously, the NIL is here to stay, I believe. And if a player does well at his college, he should be entitled to do endorsements, commercials, or what have you.
Florida State had 13 guys from the portal, and many of their best players, including Benson, who was at Oregon and ran for all those yards, and Florida couldn't tackle him. And I think Billy kind of wanted to see what he had and go through a year with these guys and find out, who to slide up this way and who to slide that way, and then go to the portal. I think they'll hit the portal hard this year.
Yeah, probably. But time will tell. Recruiting, you can still sign 25, I think, can't you?
You can sign as many as you want. You just have to be at 85. They changed the rule.
Oh, they did?
You can sign as many as you want, but at the end of the day, you got to be at 85.
Oh, I'll be dang. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's too logical. But anyway.
But yeah, I mean, for you, you had a few transfers come in and a few transfers go out, but there really wasn't a whole lot of that.
Not much at all. No, not much at all.
I'm trying to think of who came in that really made a difference.
A transfer Zach Pillar, offensive tackle.
Yes.
I remember Bob Sanders came in one day and he said there's a big offensive lineman at Georgia Tech, but he's from Tallahassee area, and he wants to transfer to Florida. And we looked at him on tape. Physically, he looked better than anybody we had just about. So Zach came in and started 1 or 2 years. What was it?
2 years.
Maybe 2. Yeah, 2. And he was on the national championship team as a starting offensive tackle.
He's got a great couple of bars up in national.
He played, 10 or 12 years, Tennessee Titans.
He's done well.
He was a good player.
He's been on
Very
this
good
show,
player.
actually.
Yeah, Zach's a good one.
A good one. All right, there was a lot of chaos in college football, too, this weekend, and including your Gamecocks. That must have made you feel good because you kind of changed that direction that series was going when you were at South Carolina, and then they changed it back at the end, and then after you left.
Yeah, everybody said, what'd you guys do different when you played Clemson? And they were still pretty good then.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Dabo used to say we were beating everybody except South Carolina and FSU. When Jimbo was at FSU, they usually beat Clemson. But anyway, we just happened to play well. We'd play without any kind of big errors. They would drop punts. They would do they just had bad games. And we all 5 wins were double digits. There wasn't a 1, 2, 3-pointer. It was 10 to 14, 18, something like that. So we just had good games every time we played those guys. And did not have real good games a lot of other times. But anyway, they definitely were favored the last 7 or so and won them. And if somebody, Pat, would have said after the Gators, after we clobbered South Carolina here, 38-6, and they got to 6 on a fake punt, that we would lose 2 in a row, and they would beat the 2 orange teams, Tennessee and Clemson, that were top 10 in the country at the time. I said, you're crazy. They got no chance. The Gamecocks have no chance to do that. But I'd be damned. They flipped the switch somehow during practice that week or whatever. But Spencer Rattler, he looked like a Heisman Trophy guy.
Which he looked like 2 years ago, but, and then he totally fell off the earth, It was weird. I mean, like when I watched the whole game against Tennessee. And when I was watching that game, I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching. Because when they were here, I thought that team had kind of quit. There was like a give up, you can see that. You can see it with body language. You can see it with everything. But I'll give Shane Beamer credit to rally to win those 2 games. Unbelievable. And it's great for their program.
Oh, yeah. When you finish strong, and I don't know what bowl game they'll go to, but they got a chance to finish 9-4.
I would think maybe Citrus.
And I'm going to tell you what now, Muschamp, his second year, he went 9-4.
Yeah.
And beat Michigan down in the Capital One Bowl. And they gave him a new big contract.
Yeah.
And then he was gone, 2 or 3 years later. So it's important, but then you got to build on it. You got to make sure you have that great recruiting class or transfers and all that. But I'm going to tell you what, South Carolina, facility-wise, they got everything.
Yeah.
They're top 5 in the nation in facilities. So if they can build up, hey, man, it's cool to go to South Carolina. We got a chance to win the division. Only won 1 in 30 years now. So that was the one in 2010.
I was there. I was there for the championship game.
So anyway, they got a chance, but everybody else has got a chance too.
Yeah.
It's just there's no gimme stuff out there. So it's almost anybody can beat anybody nowadays.
Yeah, and that includes Florida. I mean, Florida is a team that I like a lot of the things I saw this year with them. But I mean, it's weird that they had solved the penalty problem that had plagued Florida for a long time. Solved it. Last 2 games, 17 penalties. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe guys wore out. They don't have a lot of depth. I don't know why they all of a sudden went nuts on penalties.
Yeah, it has not been what we thought. And but hey, Alabama's team got a lot of penalties too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have had.
They were complaining about that. So anyway, we'll get ready for a bowl game and try to win it. And get ready for a big off season, and that's all you can do right now.
Yeah, got to get some better players,
I think
defensively especially. I mean, they just have guys that just aren't making plays. And, boy, they had another pick that could have been a pick 6 maybe. It's just the way it's been gone this year. But sometimes, I do sense Gator fans have gone back to that kind of optimistic level, but they aren't sure. But they're trying to rally behind this coach, and I don't know that I've seen that after a 6-6 first year.
Well, first year.
Yeah.
If he's been here 4 years and that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you go to the next guy. But that seems to be the pattern here at Florida, except for Urban. Urban went 6 years, I think, and then he sort of got burned out, which he sort of did at Ohio State, I guess. But they're talking about.
I can't explain Urban to you.
He won a lot. You
He did.
Gotta give
Great
him credit.
coach.
He was good in the close games and won a lot here and Ohio State. So and everywhere he went except for the pros. And then I see where Matt Rule got the Nebraska job.
Yep.
So heck, when I quit the pros, South Carolina's the only team came after me. But
I never understood why people wouldn't have been knocking your door down.
I was almost 60, and people thought, golly, he's almost 60. He ain't gonna last very long.
Yeah,
but
how long is he gonna-
yeah, one of my goals.
It's a different world now.
Yeah. One of my goals is to be the winningest coach ever at South Carolina. So I had to be there 8-9 years to do that. So that was a goal that I thought it's important to do things like that instead of, well, let's win a little bit here and get more money somewhere else. Anyway.
You'd be the perfect coach at Stanford. They've got an opening now.
No, not me.
That would be great. You would just go down and throw the ball over the place. People would freak out.
No.
They would love it.
No, Stanford does need a good passing game coach,
Yeah,
though,
they
and
do.
they have not had one. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go. Mm-hmm.
It will be. And let us get to our Campus USA play of the game, which was obviously there was a lot of good. It was a big play game, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And here was one of them right here.
Yeah, that's
Travis Etienne just up the gut. And I don't know where their defensive guys were.
yeah, up the middle. I was watching the end of the Raider game yesterday,
Yep.
and they ran the old 12 blast, I formation, handed it to the tailback, and the guy went 85 yards in overtime to
In
win
overtime, yep.
it. And yeah,
This guy's taking bad angles, though, isn't that as much as anything?
yeah,
In
a little bit.
In the back half.
Yeah, I still believe if I were coaching today, obviously everybody's in the gun, everybody's running all those kind of things, guys in motion. You got to do that. But to me, the quarterback under center makes sense a lot.
Right.
Every now and then, run straight at the other team, fake it, play action pass, and not many teams in college even practice with the guy under center. Mississippi State, he just never goes there. And I mean never. They don't practice it and they don't have it. And
That was a big win, too.
yeah, that was a great, almost the most heartbreaking loss. The kid,
I just about lost my
Yeah.
mind when that happened.
yeah, he dove.
Because I
Made a
texted
great
Coach
run.
Leach
Mhm.
after the game.
Yeah.
So, he and I have kind of had this relationship where we text each other a lot, but I texted him after the game.
But they had a first and goal on the half-yard line. Running back made a great run, dove for the pylon, and just barely missed. And so we're in no tight ends. Well, they don't have any tight ends at Mississippi State. I call them we because Steve Jr. coaches there. And so they tried to run, lost a yard. Everybody just smashes in. So the next play, the quarterback said, well, I'm going to keep this one. So he goes out there and fumbles.
Yeah.
And so first and goal at the 1 yard line, they got no points. They had
The game would have been over.
yeah, they had a 8-point lead, and then Ole Miss got the ball, went down, scored, missed the 2-point play. Fortunately,
It was an unbelievable game. It was fun to watch. There were a lot of fun games to watch. But I tell you what, I watched a ton of football this weekend. Ton of football. More probably than I watched any weekend. You know how much football I watch. But the thing I kept seeing over and over was this commercial with you and Tebow.
Yeah.
I missed it must have played 100 times.
I bet they played it 20 or 25 times. Yeah, I kept seeing it too.
When did you guys film that?
July, we were out there, Pasadena, California. They rent this house called the Heisman House,
Yeah,
and they do all of them right around that area. And it's a big production now. They had 15 or 18 Heisman guys there, and they got stand-in actors to sort of go through the preliminaries before they shoot it and all that. But it's sort of a fun thing. It was, yeah.
I mean, was Tebow? He's a good actor.
He's a good actor. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. But all those commercials are great. They're hilarious. And but the trouble is, you see them over and over and over.
Of course, seen that one. Yeah.
And over again. All right, we'll let Coach Spurrier go, and we'll be back with, of course, Robbie Andreu to do Yes, No, Where, Maybe, and of course all the other fun things we do as we take a break here from another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI on the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, it is time on another Dooley Noted podcast, of course, as always, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, to bring in on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, the great Robbie Andreu for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, which, as always, is presented by Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom. Big Mills Cheesesteaks, street dining done the right way. We appreciate them as a sponsor, and Robbie is ready to do Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. Robbie, how was I know you got back from the mountains. You got to watch a lot of football this weekend, though, right?
Yeah, I did, Pat. It was a very entertaining weekend. I thought the Florida game was very entertaining, but, the defense, they couldn't get Travis on the ground. Couldn't get him on the ground.
Yeah, that was really the hard part, is that there were so many plays where they called up the right blitz, but guys just didn't get it done. And again, sometimes other players are really good. It's just
exactly.
You don't get to where he was as a maybe an all ACC guy without being a good player. So it happens. Like all these people that Anthony Richardson ran through. I'm sure they were mad at their defense too.
Sure. Now, the bottom line is it was kind of a disappointing year, but when you look back on it, they were in every game. They had a chance in every game, basically. So I think they're getting close. And I think if he hits the portal hard and finishes off this recruiting class, the momentum will be back and people will be fired up again. That's my take.
Yeah. I think December is going to be a huge month for Florida football.
Absolutely.
What you do in the portal, what you do with recruiting, finishing off this recruiting class, what you do with coaching changes, which I think there need to be some. I've heard a couple that are coming, but you got to make sure you get this thing right for the second year. And I'm not saying you got to win or be in the playoff the second year. I think you got to be in a situation where you're an 8 to 9 win team and you're getting things going the right direction. 6-6 2 years in a row is not fun.
No, and now there's a chance for 6-7 again. So got to go from there.
Do you want to go with us if they go to Vegas and play UCLA?
Are you going?
We're thinking about it. We're thinking about just flying out there and saying, let's just take all of our savings and throw it away.
I've never been to Vegas, but Jill's been out there a couple of times, and had a good time.
Yeah, we've been there a couple of times. It's not my thing, but it's pretty cool.
I'm not a gambler, Pat. I'm not big on gambling.
Me either.
So.
Yeah, and the reason I'm not a gambler is I think I went 12-11 on my picks this week, so I would lose the vigorish. All right, let us get to yes, no, where, maybe. As always, it is sponsored by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Street dining done the right way. We appreciate Keith Miller over there, and again, a sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, the 28th, which is coming up this week. Robbie and I are going to have a conversation about that too, because I know Robbie and his wife Jill were at the 14th hole with the sangria thing that was unbelievable. So we're gonna expand that, Robbie. We're gonna make it bigger.
Yeah, I want to do that again, Pat. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. All right, here we go on yes, no, where, maybe. Number one, it's over. The Heisman Trophy has been decided. Caleb Williams is your Heisman winner.
Yeah, yes, Pat. I think it's over. I mean, he did that performance on national TV. He's got the numbers. Southern Cal's probably going to be in the playoff, you would think. And nobody else has done anything to really distinguish themselves the way he has. Hendon Hooker got hurt and lost his last game. So, I think he's faded a little bit. So, yeah, I think he's the guy, Pat. And I think that it's going to be kind of a pretty much a landslide in his favor.
Wrong, Moose Breath. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. Because if he goes out and poops a bed against a Utah defense, it's pretty good. And you never know. I mean, it's college football, man. I mean, anything can happen. Let's say he does, and Max Duggan lights it up for TCU, and they're in the playoff, and USC isn't, and maybe people are looking for reasons to vote for somebody else. I don't think it's over, and I don't think it's locked up. I will say this: if I'm voting today, I'm voting for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I think most people would, Pat. And, there is that of the game, but I have a feeling he's going to continue doing what he's done all year, putting up big numbers, and Southern Cal win that game, go to the playoffs. So if he does that, he's a shoo-in.
Yeah, and I think if he has a good game, like a 220-yard, 3-touchdown, they win 48-35 game, I think it might be the biggest landslide ever. I don't think it'll be close. But I agree with you. But I think there is a way for him to still lose it. Number two on Yes, Nowhere, maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Robbie, have you ever seen 3 weeks in your life like South Carolina's 3 weeks?
Pat, no, I haven't. No way. I've never seen anything like it ever. I mean, you look at the Florida game, Pat, I mean, they couldn't do anything. And Florida looked like one of the best defenses in the country that night. And then a week later, they had beat Tennessee when nobody thought they had a chance. And I really didn't think they had a chance to go up to Clemson and win there, but they did that too. And it's been, to play like they did in the Swamp and then go back-to-back wins over top 10 teams. I've never seen anything like that before. It's just an amazing thing. And now he's getting a contract extension, and it's unbelievable because after the Florida game, people were saying, maybe they need to fire the guy. So, it was a remarkable turnaround, and I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody that could.
No, nobody did. And I maybe I misread their body language or something, but I felt like that team walking off the field, I was like, oh boy, they aren't going to win another game. And they got their two biggest games are coming up. But sometimes rivalries and the higher people don't understand this, is that the hard thing is to play bad teams. The easy thing is to play good teams, because you're going to get up for them. You're going to get up for everybody gets up for Florida in every sport. We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
You're going to get up for these other teams in these other sports, and that other team better be ready for it. They better be ready for the onslaught.
Yeah, but Pat, the way South Carolina played in that game in the Swamp, it reminded me of Florida's performance the year before in Columbia, where they kind of got lackadaisical and kind of gave up, and that's what it looked like they were doing, but obviously not.
I know. It's hard to understand, but anyway, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Anthony Richardson is done. In fact, he won't play the bowl game. That's my prediction. Yes, Nowhere, maybe, Robbie.
I'm saying a strong maybe on that, Pat, because I have a feeling that he's going to opt out of the bowl game, and when that happens, he's gone, and he's got a lot of talent, no question about it. He's raw. But the NFL's looking at him, and obviously somebody's going to say, he looks like, a guy that's going to be a future star in the NFL, and we're going to develop him. So I think he's going to opt out of the bowl game. I think he's going to go pro, and the quarterback room will be wide open for Florida in the spring.
Yep, and it's funny because it's really, if you're looking long term, it's not the best move, because this class is loaded with Bryce Young and Will Levis and all these guys that are going to be coming out. And you could get better and be a higher pick, but I just think he wants to be done with it all. I don't think he wants to be playing in his hometown anymore. I don't think he wants all these people in his ear. I think he wants to just move on. And
I think he's ready for a change, Pat, after what he went through all year. So we'll see.
Yep. All right,
Robbie, I think he's probably going to be gone.
Appreciate you being on. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Okay.
Okay, Pat. Take care.
All right, that was Robbie Andreu, the great Robbie Andreu, on Yes, No Way, or Maybe. We appreciate his time. Appreciate Coach Spurrier's time as well. But let's move along to our Hester and Kipke 3 Things. And, of course, 3 Things, as always, is brought to you by Hester and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. It went from visit to sit. That's why. And all of a sudden, I got through it, but then I was like pausing. I was like, I was thinking about it. It got in my head, like that song earlier I was telling you about. All right, let us get to the Hester and Kipke 3 Things. Number 1, college football playoff. What are we going to see? Well, we know pretty much what we're going to see on Tuesday night. It's going to be Georgia. It's going to 1, Michigan 2, TCU 3, and USC 4. But anything can happen. USC could lose to Utah. TCU certainly could lose to Kansas State. That's a very good team, Kansas State. I don't think Michigan's losing to Purdue. I don't think if Georgia loses to LSU, they would move down. And the thing that Georgia's got to worry about, and this is going to be interesting, we're going to have Chip Towers on Friday to talk about this, is they've got to, first of all, they want to win the conference championship. It still does matter. It's important to win it, because then whatever you do in the playoffs, you still have that. So it's important. But, you know what their goal is. Their goal is not to win the SEC championship. But I think by winning it, that would help them moving forward. But does it affect where they go play? Because don't forget, it's Georgia and Glendale, or Atlanta and Glendale are the 2 playoff games. So they want to be in Atlanta. Obviously, if you're the 1 seed, you're going to be in Atlanta. But if you're the 2 or the 3 and you get in, Are you maybe in Glendale? Maybe you're playing USC in Glendale. I don't think they want that. So this is still, there are a lot of things at work here. And of course, some of the berths are still open. We all know that. Number 2, what Tennessee did to Vanderbilt on Saturday night, it was raining and everything, and I get that. That's what you do when you're a good team to a bad team. That's not a good team. Vanderbilt's not a good team, okay? Kentucky, they have no excuse. Florida, they have no excuse. That's not a good team. They played hard. You gave them points. You gave them everything. You gifted them. Well, Tennessee wasn't going to gift them anything. And they beat them 56-0. I know it was raining and everything, but that has nothing to do with it. I know it was 11 o'clock in the morning game. Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. You go and you take care of business. I admire Tennessee for getting that done with their backup quarterback. A Tennessee team, in a lot of ways, you're going to think about them as a waste of a great team, I think, because that team is really good. Now, we know their defense is not good. We know that. But anyway, and then also you had on the same weekend, the end of Miami season. I was telling Karen, they were down 28-0, I think, at the half, or 28-3. And I was telling Karen, I think, I came out and I go, they're down 28-0. I go, I think they're booing in the stadium, but it's hard to tell because there's nobody there. And it's embarrassing. I don't get it why anybody would want to go play there. But you offer you enough money. Look, as bad as Florida's been this year, bad, so bad on defense, so hard to watch. Like we were talking about going to Vegas and if they go to the bowl game there. And the one thing that Karen said was, I don't know if I want to watch them anymore though. And I'm like, yeah, they're hard to watch, but not that bad. Not that bad. Not just getting destroyed by Pittsburgh. Terrible. Anyway. All right. Finally, number 3, the storming the field thing has certainly got out of hand, and that we saw a bunch of it this weekend. It's almost like it runs in cycles, and I believe it does. Now, whether you like it or you don't like it is irrelevant. It's whether it caused a problem. And I'm almost of the belief now, look, let them storm the field. Don't fine them. Let them storm the field whenever they want until something really bad happens. And then we can outlaw it. We can make it a federal law, whatever. That seems to be the only way it's going to happen. Because even if the SEC says we're going to do, and I said this, and we're hoping to get Greg Sankey on here in a couple of weeks, but I've said this over and over, they should take away a home game of some. There's a way to make it so you would never storm the field. There's a way to do it. Okay. And if you tell the students, hey, you lose when you step on the field, you lose your season tickets, that would be one too. But there are a lot of things about that. But anyway, the point is it's getting out of hand again, and it goes cyclical. People storm the field because they see somebody else doing it and they jump on it. But now it's I don't know if it's cyclical or whether it's just going to be all the time because so many teams keep doing it because, and I think it goes back to Tennessee. Florida's lost the last 2 games. Florida's 6-6. They're 6-6. The last 2 teams have beat them storm the field. That's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy. In fact, according to Zach, I was talking to Zach Albaverdi. He said Florida fans stormed the field too, just so they could say they stormed the field. They lost. What is going on? This is not a place where you belong. That's all I'm going to say about it. All right. Let us get to the Leonardos at Millhopper quick picks. I did hear from Alan Fowler. He is going to get a copy of my book. I'm down to 1 copy, guys. 1 copy is all I got left. Maybe I'll order some more. And maybe some people prefer that to the gift certificates if they're not coming to Gainesville in the near future. And I understand that. So I will be sending that to him. You've got a qualifier here. Pretty simple one. Buffalo at New England. That's Thursday night. -5.5 Buffalo is giving 5.5 points. Do you want to get in on that? I'll try to post it this week. I've been busy lately with a lot of stuff, but I'll try to post it. So that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks, and we appreciate Kyle Cohen over there at Leonardo's. Buffalo at New England minus 5.5 points. Our Adams Ripco to go quick picks. Our Adams Ripco to go. Can we edit that? Let me stop. Our Adams Ribco to go. She's not going to edit that out. Our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. There weren't a lot of good ones. There were a lot of bad ones. We all know that. But my Gator of the weekend is the volleyball team. All of them. Everybody. The sports staff, the coaches, Mary Wise, all the players, everybody who cares about them. You won an SEC title. It means something. 25. You know, I obviously, everybody was disappointed when they lost to Kentucky in the second game. They won the first game 2 weeks ago or a week ago. This weekend, took care of business. It went down to 5 sets. Great. SEC championship. Got the seedings in. They're a 3 seed, and they're going to host Friday and Saturday. Great. I applaud that. I care about things like that. I was looking up the scores. I was following the scores. I care about things like that. So the Adams Ribco to go Gators of the weekend are the Florida volleyball team and everybody that's associated with them. Because I know the strength coach, the nutrition coach, the academic coach, all you people deserve credit for everything that Florida does. And everything every school does. Everything Georgia does. Everything Tennessee does. When you win it as a group. When you lose as a group. That's the way it is. All right. Let's get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the week. And again, we're just about out with our sponsorship for the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Again, their last meeting is next week, not tomorrow, but next week when they honor the high school players around the city, and they do such a great job. I'm a big proponent of them. I think you guys all ought to get in it. If you live in town, if you don't, you can get an out-of-town membership. And again, they meet a couple of times in the spring, and then 12, 13 times in the fall, and it's great speakers. They've had unbelievable speakers, Urban Meyer and Dari Noka and Laura Rutledge, Chris Doring, James Bates, just great speakers. It's been a lot of fun, and I love doing it. I love being part of it. But we are going to continue to do games of the week and games of the weekend. So if somebody else wants to jump on the sponsorship band, just give us a call. You know how to get a hold of me. It's very easy, email or text or call. And it's very, very reasonable. Believe me, I'll make it very reasonable for you. But if you want to get on that, we are welcoming you. Wednesday. Oh, well, first of all, Monday night, we have a game tonight. Pittsburgh at Indiana. I don't know that I'm going to watch a lot of that. I think I'm footballed out a little bit. I may watch a movie and go to sleep early. That's my plan. The women basketball plays Prairie View on Wednesday. It's like a 5:30 game. Obviously, there'll be nobody there. But they are, I think they're 7-1 that lost to FSU. The men play Florida A&M the same night afterwards. Yeah. Okay. World Cup Tuesday, we play, the U.S. plays Iran, or Iran, however you want to pronounce it. What's the correct pronunciation there? Iran to Iran? Iran? Okay. Well, they're pretty good, actually. But if you're into the World Cup. It is important. If they lose, they're out. So that's important. All right, so that is there's not a lot going on this week. Believe me, we are past the great run that you have in November. Now we're not into December, but we're about to be into December, and it gets very basketball-y, but it picks back up and football-y and everything. Football, that's a word. All right. I think I've got everything done except for the Pat Dooley story time. Let's do Pat Dooley story time. We'll do that. It's brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. And here was something I was thinking about the other day because Florida was in the Phil Knight tournament out there. And I remembered back 5 years ago, 2017, Florida scores. I think they scored 108, 111 the first two games. And then they lost to Duke by 3, 87-84. And I remember being the next day after they lost to Duke, and they had a big lead in that game. And everybody's like freaking out. Oh, this team's unbelievable. So the next day, I remember being at the press conference for Dan Mullen, was the new head coach. They were having the press conference for him. I'm like, wow. And Sam Kavaris, who, of course, was on TV at Jacksonville for a long, long time and still does a lot of stuff up there and is a Hall of Fame voter, good friend of mine. I like Sam a lot. Said to me, and I'll never forget this as long as I live, he said to me, he goes, you got a Final Four team, don't you? I go, yeah, maybe. I think so. I think you might be. Fine. I started thinking about it. I go, you may be right. And finally, Florida's got rid of McElwain. They're going to hire this Dan Mullen guy, and he is going to be good. Man, Florida is back. I think Florida is back. I thought that. I didn't say it out loud, but I thought it. Unfortunately, Florida was not back, and they still aren't back. That team ended up losing, got killed in the SEC tournament, lost a bunch of games that year, ended up not being that good. People figured out what to take away from them, stopped them every chance they got. They lost to Texas Tech in the by 3 in the second round of the SEC or the NCAA tournament. They weren't a bad team. They had a decent year, not a great year. They had a good team. And Florida, of course, was good under Dan Mullen, never got great, never turned a corner, never got the infrastructure in the right way. Things just didn't work out there. So, but for that one moment, I said, maybe Florida's back. They weren't. Still not back. Got to get them there. We'll see if they can. That's going to do it. Appreciate our producers, Tammy and Jason, for another great show. Thanks to Coach Spurrier. Thanks to Robbie Andreu. Love Mondays. Mondays aren't bad. Everybody says Mondays are bad. Mondays are fun around here. We'll be back with another show Friday. Chip Towers from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution will join us. Until then, I am Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.